Hello and welcome to 4,000 and counting. I am Watty, and today I am joined by Hull Seahawks player coach slash now just coach since he's retired this year, Mr. Matty Davies. How is it just being coach and no longer player coach?
Mate, it's very different. Very different. Obviously, as you spend your whole career just, thinking about playing and what your job is, and um, it, it's just totally different. It's like, every week now it's the build up starts like way earlier. Like Wednesday we practice, Thursday, Friday. Um, before it was just like I'm just going on for throw a few sauce passes around and just what I
Yeah.
mean? It was all good, mate. But now I've got to think about all sorts. What am I doing? Lines, who's playing, who's not playing. Um, it's carnage, mate. So, but you know what? Like I've it's probably been the best way for me to sort of finish. Obviously, I've finished obviously way earlier than I wanted to, but it is what it is. And I think this has probably helped me like sort of transition to something where I can like, put my energies into something else. And, at the minute I'm new to it. I'm probably not very good at it, but it's like one of them things where you want to improve and get better at just like playing. So yeah, it's very different, but like I say, it's a challenge.
What was the reasoning behind calling it a day? As you said, you probably had a few more years in you, ideally,
Yeah.
but obviously injuries and stuff have other plans. And what was the actual
Yeah.
reasoning?
So I mean, I could talk a long time about this, and I won't because it's like sob story thing. But basically, like I've had this knee issue for a long time now. I think the original knee was, God, I want to say it was like 2014, I think it was, or 15. Went knee on knee with some absolute giant Euro in Edinburgh. And since then, basically, I've just had just constant issues with it. It was I pretty much blew the whole knee up, but the meniscus was the problem. I tore my lateral meniscus, um, and then sort of meniscus was fine. So I came back. It was never the same, but it was fine. I just dealt with it, and then over years, the first surgery actually was they were supposed to go in and fully repair it, and then when the surgeon went in, there was basically,
Nothing
you
there.
know, well, it was just a shit show, mate. He just said there's just cartilage everywhere. There was nothing to bind it together with, so
Yeah.
that wasn't an option. So anyway, we just dealt with it, and a lot of people don't have like cartilage. They have the issues with all that, but like years and years of just like playing and obviously what I do is a job, and as well, like
Yeah.
training as well. I just think like it just went too far. I mean, like I got to the stage where like I'll be honest, I think COVID probably didn't help me at all. I think that was being off the ice and actually probably my knee getting used to not skating because it's my lateral side and obviously skating we know it's all
Off
just
those
lateral
edges, yeah.
movements. Yeah. If it was my medial and it was just straight line stuff, I'd have been fine, I think. But because it was lateral and everything side to side, it was
Every time you
just
make a turn or do a
oh
crossover or you get
yeah,
hit or battling for a
mate.
puck, it's all coming that lateral side. Yeah.
Anything, mate, yeah. And coming back after that, I went back on the ice in Leeds. Honestly, I think Dave Whistle must have looked at me and gone, "What have I signed here?"
Who's
Like
this
I just,
guy?
yeah, like literally, man, I just couldn't move. I was just like, and it took me probably, God, a good month to get in, and I was like, I kept like pulling my other groin because obviously you're overcompensating. There was all
Mm.
sorts going on. So anyway, I finally got it like all right, but I probably had I think I had three cortisones last year with Leeds, in the knee, and you'll have had a few as well, and you're not meant to have
It
that
works for a
many
fortnight
really.
if you're lucky.
Yeah, and I've had about maybe 7 or 8 now in total in my knee.
Yeah,
So,
that's too
but
much.
look, yeah, the surgeon told me like you've basically got two options. You either stop playing, we'll fix your knee and you can't play because it's going to take too long to get back, or you keep playing and you deal with it in a few years. And obviously, like we are, I just went, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna deal with it when it comes, and I'll try and get as much out of it as I can. And that's what I did basically. And I just rode it to the end. And like I came back this year. I think I played 5 games. Um, And by the fifth game, mate, I mean it was embarrassing.
Running.
I was literally limping around the ice skating, like limping.
Yeah.
I've watched it back and I'm just like, get me off the ice. Like, what am I doing? And I didn't want to do that to the team. The team didn't deserve me to do that. Like, the team was actually better without me in it. So I was like, nah, I'm done. That's it. Let's just call it a day. So yeah, that was it.
What was it like getting to walk out for your last game, being at home? Obviously, it's the way it's worked out. You could have been in Swindon, you could have been in fucking Belfast, you could have been anywhere, but you're actually at home. That must have made it a little bit easier. The fact that all your fans are there, I imagine all your families there, all the boys are pumped up.
Yeah.
How was
Yeah.
that?
I mean, you know what? It was sort of like we played against Basingstoke, I think, at home. And we got beat 6-3, and that was a low moment, mate. I was like, and that was a game like I was struggling to skate around, and I was like, I'm done. And that was the moment I knew I was done. And I said, and it just weirdly worked out that we had Leeds on a Wednesday night. Thanks to Aaron Nell for these fixtures there. That was great. And our best skate on a Wednesday night against Leeds, I was like gutted. So I thought, you know what? I was a little bit smart with it. I said, look, I'm just going to announce my retirement and hopefully it'll get a few more through the door. And obviously my relationship with Leeds and all that. So it probably did help a little bit. But they're the things you can probably do when you own the club. You can sort of do things like that. Not that you're trying to, you
Jackie
know,
Moon.
yeah, it's sort of just I just had to try and help us get the best gate that we could. You know what I mean? And so it worked out well. And I also wanted to do it against them because I had such a good year with Leeds and all the lads there, and and Aldi and Steve. I've got so much respect for them and sort of what they did last year and this year as well, obviously. And so it was a nice moment, mate. I'll never forget it. I didn't even realize that people even liked me that much. Honestly, I was like, what is going on? Everyone was just so nice and that. And I'm just like, I'm a little knobhead. Why are you all being nice to me? It was
Yeah.
crazy, but no, it was nice, mate. It was nice to do it at home and get that finish, really. So I
Obviously,
appreciated it.
you were part of what Leeds started last year. They've then gone on to, well, they're the best team in that league. They've won the
Yeah.
title. They qualified for the cup final. They've qualified for the semi-finals already. How do you assess Leeds' season? And have you got any shout outs for any of the boys that you got to play with last year?
Yeah, I've definitely got a shout out for one lad. I mean, he just got announced in the GB team this morning. I think that's unreal. Brownies. You know what, that kid, we when I signed in Leeds to start with, and I knew I was going to be playing with him. I'd played against him obviously a couple of times. He was in Blackburn and then he went to Sheffield, and it was just one of them things that obviously, like, I was who I was, and I played a little bit chirpy and stuff like that. And I knew he was like that, and I knew he was like the kid coming up. And I always, when we played against him, I always tried to, like, you know what I mean, just make sure he knows, like,
Yeah, just let
he's
them know you're there.
yeah, let him know he's still a kid and that. But mate, he's got so much ability and talent. Like until you see it, like in training, and you'll know this when you play with someone you think about, and probably totally different to
Oh, of course, yeah.
when you play against someone, you see them, but when you see them actually, and you're in the trenches with them and stuff, and you see what they're about and that, like that's when you truly know someone. And that kid, I love him. Mate. Like I've got his back on because, he's got everyone left, right, and centre telling him to go elite league and do this. He should be here, should be there. And you know what? I respect him more than anything for just being like, you know what? I'm playing here. Like I'm playing here. I'm gonna do what I'm doing. I'm gonna run the league. And yeah, he's the best player in the league by far, in my opinion. Just what he can do in terms of he's a game winner. Me and Aldi talk about it all the time, just how good he is. It's hilarious. Like the things he can do is just funny.
Still 22.
Um, it's crazy, mate. So, but you know what? He's doing what he thinks is right, and should he be in the elite league? Yeah, 100%. But
I'll
in
go
my
back to it
opinion,
though.
if
He's still 22, man. Like he,
exactly,
he
mate.
could
Yeah,
play in he could play in this league for another
yeah,
2 seasons, 24, step up to the
yeah,
elite league if he doesn't want to go elsewhere, and stay there for
yeah,
12, 15 years if he wants. I don't know what
for
everyone's
sure.
rush is.
I know, and it's so true, mate. Like he'll go when he's ready, and I think that league needs to figure things out as well. I think it needs to get to a point of like, you know, look, I'm a bit torn with it all because I think, look, like there's many leagues around the world that just don't have caps on any imports, and should it be that or should it not be that? I just think that for me, the fact is we just don't have enough pool of players to pull from, and that is the difference to all the other leagues in Europe and all these other leagues. It's like, yeah, that's great, and give everyone the opportunity and make the league the best products as we can. But at the end of the day, we don't have enough in this country to pull from to make that the jump like accessible for everyone that can do it. And that's why I think, look, this league that we're in is only going to get better. I literally just spoke to Aronell on the phone this morning. I said, look, this league is only getting better next year. And he said the same thing. And it'll only continue to get better if the Elite League keeps doing what it's doing. And only, you know, and they'll only see that them lads that are playing and they're on the bubble a little bit, they'll just keep dropping down. And, you know, and we're going to see this, you know, probably year in, year out if it keeps happening. And because at the end of the day, mate, you only get one go at this. Like, if you have 15 years or, you know, 20 years if you're lucky, you want to play ice hockey. Like, you want to play at the highest possible level, but you also want to play. You want to play power play. You want to kill. You want to be in a big part of a team.
You want to be a factor on the result, right? You want to be.
Exactly,
you want to play
mate,
play your bit in the result at the end of the game, whether it be fucking running a guy, blocking a shot, being on a PP, scoring a goal. Everyone's got a different role they can bring to the team.
Yeah,
but you can't do fucking any of that if you're sat on the bench not getting on.
No, exactly, mate. And that's the tough thing. And then you look at this league and what we're doing, like, you know, basically packing out rinks every weekend, you know, watching a load of like good, talented young British players and all the British players that have been there and done it and putting on a seriously good product. And like I say, it's only going to get better, mate. But yeah, just going back to the Leeds thing, mate, like, to be honest with you, this whole thing with Hull, this all blossomed because of Leeds. Like, I said this the other day to someone, like, when I went to Leeds, you know, I would have never done this with Hull. I was like, probably going to just be done and then just run the gyms and sort of build that way. But when I went to Leeds and I saw the way Steve Nell has done what he's done there and how they've managed to grow it, I was like, I need to do this in Hull. Like, this is exactly what we need in Hull. Like, yeah, it's a little bit different. The cities are different, but the way they've run the club and they've made it so like media driven and sort of, you know, they're in the community, but in the community in the right ways. They're going with like the Leeds Rhinos connection. They're going with, you know, the footballs, everything they're doing. The merch on night, the match night experience is it's almost following sort of what the Steelers are doing, and there's no doubt about it in terms of like who are winning in that sense. Like 8,000, 9,000 a night every week for the Steelers. They make it an event. It's not just an ice hockey game. When you go to Steelers, it's an event. It's a night out. And they have obviously the Jumbotron and they make a big thing out of it, and that's great. But we've got to make it an event as much as we can in this league, and I think that's what Leeds have got like bang on. And when I seen it, mate, I was just like, right, you know, there was no chance of Hull coming back. I spoke to Shane, and it just wasn't going to happen. And I was just like, mate, I've got to do this. Like, I've got to make this work. And yeah, here we are now.
So here we are now. We've done a season, and what a season it was for you boys. Whether it be your imports not coming into the country for fucking 2.5 months, with Sveki playing fucking 24 minutes and then getting a 10-game sussy. Let's say for a rookie coach, didn't really go to plan, mate, to start off. How was you feeling? You must have been pulling your fucking hair out, bud.
Mate, honestly, like, it was, I mean, just from day one, just sort of like trying to get, I mean, we spoke and I was on holiday, and that was in like the midst of trying to just get a club off the ground and sign a team. It was just like, it was carnage, mate. And like once we got to the season, I realised how much we hadn't done and how much we needed to do, and it was just endless, from just little things like the room wasn't ready. We didn't have a glove dryer, mate. Like, and how bad is that?
Yeah, just stuff like
honestly,
that, though, yeah.
Mate, we didn't have a saw we didn't have a, like, honestly, mate, like, it was like, I think it was Nath come up to me, or someone come up to me, was like, can I cut my stick? And I was like,
you'd have to take your sticks home, bud.
Yeah, mate, I was just like, I can jump on it outside. That might be fun, but I don't know if it'll fit you. But like, so it was just like everything like that, the little things, and
Teething
like,
issues.
yeah, mate, and like we just cracked away at it. And we got to a point where like probably by Christmas it was things were getting better and better, and but yeah, mate, like just to get it all going. I mean, God, going back to the import thing, I mean that was on another level of just annoying. Like I've never experienced anything like it. I mean, my missus, she basically got in touch with the MP in the local area and literally was after him every single day, and she was all over it. I mean, you know how it is. Women are annoying, and
Yeah, they can go for it.
mate, and she dog with a bone, mate, went at it, mate, and just got this MP. And to be fair, she did it, mate, and she got him to actually push it through, and we managed to get him. I don't know how much longer it would have been, but it's just
It was long
things like
enough.
that. Yeah, mate, like things like that. Like it was just, but we was trying to do everything right, and we wanted to do everything right from the beginning. We got, the license, and we wanted to make sure they had visas. And I'm aware that some teams, didn't have it, and they probably brought guys in, and I don't know, MK had the issue as well. But obviously some guys had already been here, had probably 2-year visas or threes, and we was just behind the ball a little bit with it all. So yeah, and then obviously once the season got going, it was like, right, we got sort of, that first stretch of months, like 3 months, honestly, like, although we was losing week in, week out, like the lads, honestly, like the shift that them boys put in was
Mm.
like, honest, I'll never forget that, because I had kids, like 18-year-old kids. Like I was playing two centers, Sam Towner and Deck Jones, who was 18, going against, literally playing against
Everyone.
Aaron Nell and Malazinski. It was mad, mate. And I'm on the bench, like, what is going on? Like, what, you know what I mean?
What do I do here? I've got no bodies. Like,
mate, I was just like trying to pull guys from all over. We had like, I was on the phone to like Manchester and all these other clubs trying to get anyone in. And you know what? We got through it, and we won our first game away in Bristol. And that night, mate, was probably one of the best nights of the year. And
you
you
boys
know
get
this,
after it.
mate, when you win on the road, like it's so much better than winning at home. And yeah, it's great for the fans and all that stuff, but for the boys to win like on the road in Bristol, 6 hours away from home, like with 10 guys,
that's a fun bus trip home.
mate, it was mad. Like we had the rookies were singing. It was just one of them. It was one of them, mate, and it was class. So yeah, obviously, the lad. Then obviously Sweat came in, and I mean,
What a nightmare.
I mean, I've got just no words for that. I mean,
It was never a
it's
10-game sussy in my book, ever.
no.
It
I
never
mean, look,
was. It was just a big
look,
fucking body running over somebody
yeah,
that wasn't quite ready
yeah,
to get run over.
exactly, mate. And I think, look, I was stood directly in front of it, and and I would be honest, like I'm not some, yeah, I could, everyone's got a little bit of bias here and there, and if you see your boy get hit, it's not nice. But honestly, I was stood directly in front of it. I saw him drop, and his shoulder just directly went into the kid's like chest shoulder area.
Mm.
And you can't see it on the video because his head's actually the other way, but he didn't contact his head. And everyone was saying he jumped into it. He didn't. He didn't jump. He's 6'5", mate. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The kid had
When
his
people
head
say
down.
about jumping, though, either A, they don't understand physics, B, they've never made a hit before. When you run a guy over the top, if you run a guy and you go over the top of him, your feet are coming off the ice.
Yeah.
That's not a jump. That's physical impact of you going full tilt and hitting something. Bang. Your legs are going to come off the fucking ground sometimes.
Mate, 6'5" kid hitting like a 6'2" lad. Like,
he's
if
big
both
boy.
of them lads, mate, big boys, like the feet are going to come up. He's going to go like, look, it is what it is. It's done. Like, that is never, ever a 10-game ban. If that's a 10-game ban, then some of the other ones that went on that year, mate, like, it's all just so far away from each other. Like, the difference in sort of what was a hit and what wasn't a hit and what's a hit to the head. And, the issue I had with it, mate, is, and the refs are in a real sticky situation in my book, because really what it was he had literally a 6-game ban all the way down to a 2-minute minor.
Yeah.
It's not a 2-minute minor and it's not a 6-game ban. So where's the middle ground there?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the 5 in game gone? Like, Give him a 5 a game, done. Go to the showers, mate, you're done. Like, you can't hit someone like that, fair enough. But that is never, ever, ever, in my opinion, ever been a 10-game ban, not
Never.
even close to it.
No.
Like, so, and that's
Well, for what it's worth,
problem.
this should tell you something, Matty. So for that incident, he would have got 25 penalty minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That means in the other 30 games that he played in, he had 4 minor penalties. He finished the season on 33 penalty minutes. He had 25 of them and that fucking hit. Yeah. What I said at the time, if anything, all that is been sitting on the sofa for fucking 2.5 months. You get into the season while everybody else is flying out. And your timing ain't going to be as good as it is in fucking December when you've just been sat there and all the other boys are like, whoop, whoop. Mitchell King, he can wheel. Like, he's coming out the zone hard. Your timing. Like, I personally didn't think it hit his head either. I thought it was there. But, I mean, you look what he did in the games that he played. 31 games, 31 goals, 30 assists. And like I said, only 4 minor penalties across the board. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah. I said the other day to someone, I did a little interview the other day, and I said, look, like that from that moment there when he got banned, that was basically, well, if I look back now, that was the playoffs done. Because what happened from that was he had to sit out another 10 games, and then it was like try and get match fit again. And we just didn't get Svek properly till after Christmas. And even then it was like, and mate, he was flying when he came back. He bought into the club. He was honestly, like, I can't say enough good words about him. Like he was such a good lad this year, and obviously, like, you know, he plays how he plays at times. People think he's lazy, this, that, and the other. But mate, like that kid has got some shot, and like when he buys in and he's playing and he's going hard, like he's dangerous, and he can literally just like take over a game on his own. But yeah, I mean, 10-game ban. It was just a tough one, mate. Like, really tough. Yeah, tough.
You talked about getting the first win on the road against Bristol. How was who was the first home victory against, and how was that up in Hull?
Yeah, I think so. We played. We beat Bristol, and then I think it was maybe 2 weeks later, or I think we had the Bees at home and beat them. And then I think not long after that, the imports came, and I was looking up, like I was thinking, look, like we've got a chance if, you know, Temmie's coming in. I know Emil's banned, but I think, like, you know, Temmie can win games on his own. And then just before Christmas, we had 4 games on the bounce that we won, and basically Temmie won them games on his own. And we went to Basingstoke, and he literally just won the game on his own.
I was at the game.
Crazy. I remember seeing it.
Yeah, he was lights out. And by the way, I just finished giving him like double wristers. I was telling everyone in the box like how good he was, and everyone was like, "Yeah, he hasn't really done anything yet." I was like, "Give him a fucking hot minute. He's just got off a plane. Like, let's give him a minute." And then like the second period, coast to coast, snapshot from like hash marks. Dink. I was like, "That any good for you?" And then like
all right?
Next shift, he comes like fucking wide, cuts in. Bar down. I was like, what about that? That any good?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm telling you guys, he's fucking money. Like, you don't understand how good he was in the EPL, mate. Like, and this league's easier than that. He was very good. Right. So looking at it now, obviously they split the cup. So the first 20 games of the league go towards a cup. And leading in there, you've had 3 victories in 20 games, meaning that you then go on to play the league fixtures. In the remaining 36 fixtures, you had 11 wins. So a much better run of it once the cup was out of the way, once the boys were in. Where would you kind of assess your season? Because it's kind of a tale of 2 seasons, really. It was the season before the imports got here, and then the season after it. I think after they got here, you boys handled yourself well. You were competitive in pretty much every game. Didn't really get blown out. So better second half.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right, mate. Like it definitely was sort of two seasons in one, really. I mean, like I said at the time, if you took, you know, your 2 imports, and, you know, obviously I wasn't playing and we had injuries with, you know, a couple of other lads during the season. If you take them out of most teams, like they're gonna struggle. Like you're gonna find like you're not gonna win every game, and you're gonna lose some games big.
Well, it's the equivalent of taking I don't know, Nel Malasinski, Tower out, or
that's
whoever it may be, like Librelli, Balaz and
Yeah,
fucking George Norcliffe out the Bison.
yeah,
The
yeah,
results are going to change. Of course they are.
yeah, yeah. They're gonna, mate, and that, and once they got in, like, and the team I signed, I was comfortable with sort of what we had, and I thought, look, if we get them back and we can start winning some games against the teams around us, and then pushing some of the old, the better teams, I thought, we might have a chance here, and look, I think we just fell short, and I think after Christmas, I think we had a real bad run, and we came back, and I said the other day, I messed up, mate. Basically, we had a game scheduled against Peterborough on the 22nd, and that game got cancelled, and instead, basically, I had two options. I either give the lads a week off, or I got them back in, and then we had a couple of days off, and then got back at it after Christmas. And looking back now, I messed up. I gave the lads a week off. The imports went back home again. Yeah, but you know what? It was like the lads that had been playing, they'd played so many minutes, mate.
Just
Like,
fucks, yeah.
mate, yeah, like honestly, Deck Barmer was playing 40 minutes a night.
He's been unreal for you this year.
Mate, 40 minutes a night, and Towner 30 odd, and it was just too much, mate. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give him a week off, and we did. And when we came back, mate, we just looked
A little bit flat.
laggy, a little bit flat, and we just couldn't get back into it until a little bit later on. And we had leads around there, and they were flying, and it is what it is, mate. And I think, but after Christmas, we went on a real run, and I think, our season was probably like January onwards, and obviously with the points we got then, we would have been a playoff team. But again, like, it's, you're not that team unless you are that team. And I suppose, looking back at it now, it was just, at the end of the day, look, mate, I said from day one, we had to survive this year.
Just get through the season. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to, mate. And it's a real shame we're not playing, the weekend just gone, of course. But at the end of the day, mate, like, we're here. We've built something that has really caught on. I would say the last four games, our last four home games that we had, I had the lads, and I said, look, I want to win 3 out of 4, and we won 2, and we managed to we lost against Telford. It was 3-2. We could have beat them, but then 4 home gates were the best of the year that we had, and they were, mate, it was really, really good. The rink was bouncing again, and everyone sort of bought into what we're trying to do, and the merch is everywhere, and I go down, I see public skating, and everyone's got the hats on, and it's nice, mate, and it's something that we can build on going forward. And I think next year we're obviously we're going to be a better team next year, and we'll see sort of how we go. But yeah,
playoffs the goal next year. Obviously, this year, like you said, the goal was to get through. Next year, kind of a bit like Leeds. They were the Leeds Chiefs first, and it kind of didn't work. And then they brought the Leeds Knights out. They finished 4th in the next season, and then they've won the league last year. So for you guys, is it just to climb that table a little bit, secure that playoff spot?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make sort of predictions, and I try not to do that. But look, if I'm being totally honest, the team that I think I've got for next season will be in the playoffs. Okay. I'm pretty, with the lads that I've already signed and the lads that potentially I'm going to get. It's like, I'd be very surprised if we didn't make the playoffs. But again, it's still a tough league, mate. Everyone's going to get better. The league's only going to improve, and it's going to be a battle. But like I say, mate, for us, and sort of what we're looking to do, like, we have to make the playoffs. There's no doubt. And then, like, what Leeds have done is just building year in, year out. And, they'll admit, I don't think they thought they was going to win the league this soon, but the team they've got, the top 6, is just mental, mate. And, they're going to be even better next year. And, it's nice. It's good to see, because it just shows how good you can be in this league if you do it the right way.
What's been like your biggest learning curve off the ice?
Oh God, there's been a lot, mate. But I think you know what, like, we had the start of the season was a bit of a funny one, and we had originally was 3 of us involved. And unfortunately, Ian, that was the other partner, he sort of, his personal life was probably taking a bit of a hit, and he decided to leave. Nothing bad on Ian. He did a great job in the summer last year trying to get this going, and to be honest, he was massively influential with getting the council contract, which was massive to get us going. But you know what? Looking back now, I think 3 was too many.
Too many Chiefs.
Yeah, just too many voices, mate. And I think it was we just struggled to get things done. And obviously, once Ian left, I think we only got stronger. Really, I think it made us stronger, and we managed to keep growing from there. And me and Joe were running it. We see eye to eye on everything. Like he sort of lets me just run the club sort of how I see fit, and the finance side of it, he deals with him. We both talk about stuff and everything that we agree with. It's just we're sort of like, right, should we do this? Bang, and it's gone. Like, should we do this? Yet, bang, gone. Like, we're not going to sit there and mull on things, and we're just like, right, do we think this is a good idea? Let's go. Let's get it done. And whereas before it was just taking a bit too long, and now there's basically 4 of us that are sort of. We've got a media guy that does all the social media, and we've got a guy that runs sort of the back end in terms of like website and getting everything else like sorted like that. And we just bounce off each other well. Like ideas come in, it's like, bang, yep, let's do it, boom, and it's going. And since then, it's just gathered momentum, and we've sort of built it. And like say towards the end of the year, we really saw some growth, and crowds were really getting good. And I think we just had a better team to it, and hopefully it'll just keep growing. And obviously, like the thing with Hull, mate, I know how it is. It's very fickle, is Hull.
Right.
And they do want a winning team. It's always been similar. It's the same with the rugby teams. And look, if you don't win, and I'll be honest, I'm the same. Like if I was not going to watch a winning team, I don't know how excited and how much
You
I
might pick
would
and
want to
choose
go.
your games a little bit more.
That's it.
Oh.
And look, we had the Pirates where we was winning every week. We completely stacked, and we have to try and get back to that level where we have got a seriously good team, and
It's a building
that's
block,
my
though,
job.
isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
building block.
exactly.
It's not going to happen after 10 minutes. Right,
No.
Matty, I'm gonna let you go, but before I do that, can you just give the people the rundown of the signings that are already announced? Because I've seen you guys on your social media, like you touched on. It's been good, and the announcements have been coming out. So who have you re-signed so far?
Yeah, so we've signed Jordan McLaughlin back, the goalie. He's had a massive year for us, breakout season for himself. Still a young guy, but he could be a starter in this league and potentially go up to the elite league if he wants it at some stage. So he's back. Deck Barmer, he's been massive for us. I think he's the best D-man in the league for me. Just overall, what he does, logs minutes, fights, can make a pass. He's just such a good lad, and he's back. Sam Towner, captain, just a good sentiment, solid, does everything the right way. Buys in, just a good lad. And Nathan Salem, again, he's been massive for us this year. Had a great year, and yeah, I think he's finally settled somewhere, which he's been looking to do. I think for a long time, he's bounced around, but I think he's finally settled, and it's good for him to have that sort of continuity now going forward. So we've got Nath back. We just announced Owen Bruton, young lad.
Saw that.
I remember I seen you in Basingstoke, and I said just watch this kid because he's got a bit. Yeah, he's
got a bit of fuck you about him as well.
He has, yeah, mate. He's got that little bit of like, he's already a game. He's game for it. 16-year-old kid, but wow, he can look after himself. Really good on the wall. Smart player, mate. Like above his years, really. Just needs to work on his skating, get faster, and he can be a real diamond in this league. I think so.
I like seeing some of them young guys come through like that. It's good.
Yeah, it's class, mate. And that what we've got for now, that's it. But we've got some signings coming up literally over the next few weeks.
Start drip feed them out, get the people excited.
Yeah, a couple of big ones. We'll have some announcements at the end of this month as well that are pretty good, and some players coming back. And no, it's good, mate. I'm happy with what we have, and it's exciting, mate. It's good.
Well, Matty, this has been fun. Let's touch base again just before the season starts.
Yep.
But back to the real world, mate. I've got to go back to the gym,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So I will
I
be
feel you, mate. I'm
seeing
here
you
now.
again very soon. But yeah, I've got to go down
Yeah.
and do it now. But yeah,
Yeah.
peace, brother. Thank you
Top
very
man.
much.
Cheers, pal. See you, pal. Right.